Hey guys, it's the middle of August, and you know for most businesses that means the summer doldrums. But not true for Legacy Collectible because I have some incredible guns to show you, so stay tuned. Okay, this video is going to be a little bit long. I'm guessing it's going to be 20 to 30 minutes because I have a lot of really cool guns to show you. I'm going to start with a new feature called What Do You Think This Is? And I Bet You're Wrong. That's the name of this feature. What do you think this is? And I bet you're wrong. Come take a look at these two magazines. Okay, hopefully you can see that, but these are factory numbered on the spine. And those of you who watch my channel and you own my book, you're probably saying, I know exactly what that is. Those are SS magazines. But here's a brain twister. These are both 9mm. So what do you think that is? No, they did not make 9mm SS guns. This, in fact, when I look up the serial number, goes with a solid block of guns that went to the Persian military or police. So these factory numbered magazines do go with a Persian contract. Here's a picture of a Persian PP. And I suspect they went to the Persian police or guard units for the Imperial Palace. The next thing I want to show you, you're going to say, ho hum, I've seen a snail drum before. I'm going to show you this snail drum that is in incredible condition. Looks like it was made by Bing in Nuremberg. That's a B/N, and it does have a serial number on it. But what makes this video worthy is the fact that it came with a loader. Excuse me, a loader. We've seen those before. And an unloader. Never seen one before. Have you ever seen an unloader before? Now, this is from the time period. Again, it's from Bing, Nuremberg. It does have serial numbers on it, and the loader does not. I suspect that this went to the police, and part of their training was going out to the range, and I think that they probably had to load magazines quite a bit and also had these unloaders made. But I've never seen one. Let's see how it works, because I'm actually quite curious. So when I try to load, it's a little bit awkward. Maybe I'm doing it wrong, but push down, put another one in, push down. Oh yeah, it's working great. And bear in mind, this is from probably 1918. There we go, got it. There is a mag release button. Well, let's first take a look at the action. You can see how it pries it up. So let's try it out. And again, this is a first for me. I've actually never seen one, never used one, but clearly. And push that button. All right, it's all attached. There we go. Watch this. Watch the magic happen. Love it. Pretty cool. Unloader, never seen one before. We are going to offer this probably. A lot of people say, when's this going to be on the website? Whenever I do a video, I have VIP members that jump on it right away, and then other subscribers will jump on it. So we avoid taking pictures and loading it on the website, which is the most time-consuming thing for us. So if we can sell them right off the video, we do that. If they don't sell off the video, then we take pictures, write description, and put it on the website. And if you're a VIP member, you do have a slight advantage at getting to it first. This is a Repro canvas cover. Here, take this off. Oh, you know what? I have to push that. Again, this is the first time I ever used one, but this is the canvas cover for the snail drum. And it's a replica of ones that were actually made, and because they were made with canvas, a lot of them didn't survive the war. So this is a very nice reproduction, and the person that made these is no longer making them, so you can't really get them. But it's a reproduction, but very cool. Let's move on because I've got some guns to show you. Okay, the first gun I want to show you is this. Now, this is a Repro Suitcase, and again, somebody made this up more recently. But the reason I want to show you this first is because this is what the snail drum was used with. It was used with other Lugers, and it was actually used with a machine gun. Most times, the snail drum went with an artillery Luger. So that's the way it looked all together. And of course, when you add in the stock, you have an assembly that looks like that. So again, Repro Suitcase. This snail drum we're selling separately, so we'll set that aside. This is the strap to go with the holster, And these are very fragile. You can see the cracking on them. These are very fragile, so this is not all put together, but the strap, it would go over your shoulder, and probably Randy can find a picture of that. That did not go on a belt loop, but later they did add belt loops, but generally it went over your shoulder because these are pretty heavy assembly, and so you'd carry it over your shoulder. You can see here's the crown, here's a property or a unit number or a rack number. This should be dated 1917. I can't really see the date, but right here is the maker and the date. It's upside down, but the date and maker would be right here, but it's very faint, so I can't read the date. It does come with an imperial tool. You can see the imperial, it's a crown something. It's usually a D or an S, but that is the inspector proof on the tool. It also has a correct cleaning rod. I'm going to pull this out and explain to you. This brass bottom is a good indication that it's original. I believe this was nickeled and with a brass bottom. And they do make repros, quality repros. Here's another brass at the top. And the repros will often spin, meaning this is not on tight and it just spins. But this one is all original quality cleaning rod for the artillery. Now, the artillery itself, what makes this so unusual, and one of the reasons I wanted to show it to you, first of all, serial number, you can actually see halos there, you can see halos there. It's all matching, including a matching magazine. You can see it's in the A block, matching magazine, A block, and it is from 1917. Which is the most common year, but this is not a common gun because the matching magazine is extremely rare, and we also have a matching stock. So let's take a look at the stock. There's a crown and an S. I can make that one out a little bigger. Crown S, that's all correct. The leather's all correct. The boot is correct. And what we have here is the last 3 digits and an A. So it's 204A. Now, I have seen it with 4 digits. I have seen it with 3 digits. In this case, it's a matching 3-digit, 204. And here you can see 204 and 204. So this is a complete rig in a Repro Suitcase. You can carry it around. Next time you go on a business trip, you can take this with you. Since we're on a Luger theme first, this is a Kriegoff. Now this is the early variation. You'll see the early logo. Here's a later logo which has Kriegoff Sul. The early logo, and it was just in the early part of 36. They also externally numbered the toggle. You can see 54. You see the early logo. You see the early grips, which are a fine checkering. This is the more normal grip. Also, you'll see that this is externally, the side plate is externally numbered. Here it is not. The takedown lever is externally numbered. Here it is not. So it's only in the early S code, early 1936, that they had these early features, and then later it was the design was changed a little bit. Here is the Kriegoff proofs. There's a small one here and then 3 here. I do discuss that in my book. You can see here I have a book on Third Reich Lugers, and it goes into more detail. You also see original finish where it's dull in here but shinier on the rails. Also, it has a Kriegoff magazine. It's close. This is in the 2500 range. And the gun itself is in the 2000 range, so it's about 500 numbers apart. All correct, early Kriegoff. It's a little bit late for having these early features, but with Kriegoff, the serial numbers were not as sequential as with most production of weapons. In other words, they would get them out of sequence from time to time. And so the earliest ones would have the wooden grips. This has the Ritz grips, and it's a little bit late for an early variation, but I'm sure that this is an all-correct early variation Kriegoff. There's the grip straps, and I already discussed the magazine. Just came in this week, a great find. Okay, now you're ready to have your world rocked because I got a party leader in. Actually, this gun and this holster came in separately. This holster is incredible, and I will keep it because I don't think I've ever seen a better one. This is pretty much in unissued condition. Let's talk about the gun first. The gun would come with a holster like this, but again, they did not come in together. This came from a collector, party leader grip, It's definitely original. There's more and more of the fake party leader grips showing up on auctions, particularly in Europe. Not fake, I'll call them repro, because they're being sold as repro grips. But I've been getting emails, a number of emails out of Europe saying, I'm thinking about buying these, are these real? This is an original party leader grip. You can see a few scratches right there, which is too bad. Not sure how that happened. Usually they get scratches where somebody tried to pry the grip out or something, but this is unusual. You can see this from the serial number. It's in the quote-unquote correct range, about 1938, which we know that the party leader grip was in the party catalog, available in 1938 and 1939, and this falls into the correct serial range. So probably 1938 crown end proofs. Here's the other side of the grip. No crack in the back, and it does have the finger extension magazine. It has a dull magazine. Probably the magazine is a little bit later. Not a big deal. I can swap that out, but this is the magazine it came with. So we see a party leader PPK. Now let's take a look at the holster. The holster is even more rare to be in this condition because, as you can imagine, people put the gun inside the holster and then they were in rain and snow and muddy fields. Actually, they weren't at war, but they went to party members, party leaders. Here's the inside, incredible. You can see it has the flattened top. The other AK holsters usually are rounded, but that would cover up the swastika. We like to cover up the swastika, but back then they didn't want to cover up the swastika. So you open it up, you can see the ink mark, and there is the AK logo. And this is in near mint condition. I'm convinced that it was never issued just because it's really tight in terms of it barely opens. In fact, there's some cracking at the top, which is the biggest flaw. And there's the back of the holster. So I'm holding on to this. I know a bunch of you are going to say, pretty please, can I have it? No, I'm going to hang on to it for now, but we will be selling this party leader. Let's move along because I also got a box PP in this week. Isn't it a great week? Talk about summer doldrums, but we're hopping here. So there is what we call the green label. I don't know how we got that name for it. There's the green label, and it matches the gun. First of all, there's an original cleaning rod. I put that on top of the manual when I store them because I don't want the cleaning rod to hit the metal. So I put that like that. I'm not sure how they packed them. Actually, these came in like a covering and were probably at the bottom of the box. Here is the manual. This is an original manual, and it's dated in the back, 1937. The gun was, this was printed up before the gun was made, but still, obviously, they're using up the catalogs from 1937. It does not have a spare magazine, but normally there'd be a spare magazine right here. This is the early tin with the picture of the factory, and inside you get the oil. There's oil can, but also an oil glass jar, and that's the oil glass jar. And then this is the cleaning material, still in the original cellophane. So there's the tin, and then finally the gun itself. This is not a 99% gun, a little bit of wear here, but it's probably 97, 98. You can see wear here. So this was actually used. Sometimes the box guns look like they were in a closet and never issued. This one is definitely issued and used, but you can see that it's got a beautiful high polish finish. It is eagle end, not crown end. So this is from about 1940, maybe 41. Now it does have one marking, which is interesting. Right there is a CB in a circle, and I believe that is a retail stamp. So this was sold by a retailer, initials CB. Other people have said that's a bank. I don't know. I can't say for sure. Actually, Dieter Marshall might know, and he often writes to me and clarifies. If he does, I'll put that in the comments. It doesn't really matter other than the fact that it was issued. I mean, it was sold privately and probably went to a retailer. Could have been a bank, but the banks often numbered their magazines on the bottom. The bottom finger extension. Here's the magazine. You can see the finger extension, and this will all come together as one group, a boxed Walther PP. And yes, these are very rare to find in the original box in all original condition. Now, after those beautiful guns, and here's what we're going to still be looking at, and then I have one Colt at the end. After looking at those beautiful guns, these are almost ho-hum, but they're not ho-hum. They're, let's learn something from this. Okay, so these are mid-war, and you see the reddish grips. I often say blood red grips because they look blood red. Kind of like the green label. You know, we just come up with real creative names. This serial range is mid-war, about 1943, and this is in the same range. And what I know from researching this quite a bit, they of course had black grips before this, the weighted black grips to be specific. Then they went to a wartime black grip, which was hollow and not weighted. Then for a very brief period of time, they had reddish grips, and no one can say for sure why, other than maybe somebody thought it looked cool, so they made a batch of reddish grips. And they are seen in the 1943 range. It could be late 42 into early 44, but generally people take the grips if they think they're cool and they swap them around. But this is in, and I have the database to show it, there is a solid block of reddish grips in this serial range. Now both of these guns, you see the duller finish, not the high polish finish, duller, I call it military finish because it's kind of a dull military finish. There's the front straps, there's the back straps, and what makes these somewhat different is this one is commercial. No, there's eagle end proofs here, but no Waffen stamps or police proof. So this is a commercial gun, and this one went to military, most likely an officer. Smaller the gun, the higher the rank. So all their PPs and PPKs went to officers in the German army. Some went to the Luftwaffe as well. But you can see here are the Waffen proofs, and that's a Waffen 359 proof. They come with flat bottom mags. The police and the military didn't care about your pinky finger. So they should come with flat bottom mags. This one can come with flat bottom or finger extension. In this case, it's a flat bottom magazine. Moving right along, we go from mid-war to, here's a very early gun I wanted to show you because these have the X grips. I'm afraid I'm gonna just have to show them to you because they're hard to describe. Okay, there it is, there's the X grip. And it only came with the first like 1,000 or so, because then they went to the weighted grip. I mentioned the early weighted grip, but I neglected to mention these just because they're so rare. So just in 1929, for the first 1,000 or so, they used these X grips, and you can see how they get the name, and they don't fit very well. I can often tell an X grip without taking the grip off, and one of the ways I can tell is there's a gap right there. And if you look at this, you don't see that gap. Also, I see a fat safety. Notice, look at the safety between these two guns. This is a fat safety, also very rare. And then a heavy hammer. Look at the hammer here, look at the hammer here. So heavy hammer, fat safety, and that's not used in a disparaging way. It's weight challenged, that's the fat safety. This is the early magazine, by the way. Not only does it have the slab side finger extension, but it has the open follower. See the open follower? Again, just the first 1,000 or so. Closed follower. Open follower didn't work very well because it pops out and is harder to, you can see there where it doesn't line up, it's harder to feed. Here with the closed follower, it's easier. So this is a very early magazine. This magazine can go to 400 to 500. These grips can be 400 to 500. This safety can be 400 to 500. This hammer, they're just so rare. Now let's take a look at the serial number. The serial number is also reversed. Notice here, the serial number is easy to read, right side up, but it's reversed on the early guns, and you can see it's actually late for all these early features, but I'm sure it's correct. That's actually in the first 4,000 that are made. So probably late 29, early 30. You also see that the proof marks are in a different place, and again, just the earliest guns, and then after that, they put it on the slide in the ejection port. Here it's on the slide in the frame. So you see these early features, very early gun, which will sell at a premium, and I was happy to get that in. Now here is a PPK that comes with a box mag. Now these are very rare. You're used to the finger extension mag, which is just the little pinky extension. This, I guess somebody who has a bigger hand, this is just about grip. It doesn't add any additional rounds. If I look at it, it's just a standard magazine on top of a bigger, again, it's called the box magazine. And when you put it in, I sold one of these to a guy, and it was not broken. They often are broken in the back. They're chipped off right there. Both for the PP and the PPK. And I sold one to a guy, and I sent it to him. And I said, now when you put it in, don't slam it in because it hits and it'll chip. So he got it and said, I hear you loud and clear. He got it. He said he popped it in and broke it. So I said, send it back. I have a guy who can repair it. You'll still see the line, but he can repair it. So I repaired it a second time, and yes, as you can guess, I sent it to him a second time. He did the exact same thing, popped it in, and chipped it a second time. So if you buy this gun, or if you buy a gun that has this configuration, I line it up and just very gently pop it in there. Now it is attached, it's not coming out, there's a little bit of a gap there, but the whole purpose of that is just for the grip, comfort of the grip. And it's a rare feature. A correct one sells for $1,000 to $1,500, so it's a very rare magazine, and we'll be offering this with the grip. There's the other side. There's a little bit of a crack in the grip, but the magazine looks all correct and not repaired back there. You can see from the serial number, it's in the 1938 serial range. Let's move along. Here's the next gun. This is a high polish, went to an officer. In this case, this went to a Luftwaffe officer, might have been a pilot, because this serial range is a Luftwaffe contract. Yes, I am doing a book on this. I'm not ready yet, but I am going to start working on that. And I will give you serial numbers of the different Luftwaffe contracts. And yes, it did come with 2 matching magazines. However, let me back up. It was issued with 2 matching magazines, but in this case, there is no matching magazine. They would be numbered on the bottom. Maybe Randy could pop one up and show you what that looks like. But this is not numbered. Nonetheless, it's a nice find because it's a high polish from 1941. It has the Eagle End proofs, and then you see the Waffen 359 proofs here and here. And this is just in exceptional condition, and this will sell immediately upon anyone who watches this. They will immediately contact us and say, I'll take it. The last 2 that I want to show you, if you thought the Luftwaffe was desirable, probably one of the most desirable guns that we sell are the SS contract guns. Now these are both SS style holsters. Look at that. Looks like a mouse got into that one. But it's black stitching and black leather. This is what they call the leading edge holster, and this is the standard where the magazine pouch is on the front, and here it's on the leading edge. This one obviously is a PPK. And from my book, we can look up this serial number and see it comes within a solid block of SS guns. So we know this was an SS contract, and it has an SS magazine, and this is the style of the last contract had this style, numbered on the bottom with the 1 and the K, but it is not matching. This ends in 420. And this ends in 721. So this is an SS gun with an SS magazine, but not matching to the gun in an SS holster. And so we will be pricing that accordingly and make that available. And then this is a PP version of the same thing. It says Walther PP, and it also is a late. Now this is actually a high polish finish, which was just worn down. I think this is about 1940, and you can see it's numbered here and here, and then it has, I believe, an SS magazine. There you go. And this is 204, and this is 205. So SS magazine with an SS gun, So SS contract just means it was issued to the SS or the Gestapo, and these were generally plainclothes detectives or agents, security agents, looking for dirty traitors and spies. So they're highly desirable. This has been, see that, should be all black stitching, so we can see that that was repaired, and that was just this piece here. But everything else looks like original black leather holster made by Aka and SSPP and PPK. Now this is the last gun I'm going to show you from this wild and crazy ride, but for you Colt collectors, this is going to be your favorite. This is a very rare 1924 Transitional. The reason they call it Transitional is because World War I era guns had certain features such as wooden grips. They also had the diamonds in them. This doesn't have the diamonds. And the World War II era guns went to plastic grips, and they added this pop-out on the mainspring. And again, I think that was for comfort of grip. I'm not sure. But this has early features and later features. It actually has a barrel that's marked HP intertwined, and so it's a World War I era barrel with a World War I era finish, actually going into World War II. It's a little more confusing than what I'm saying, but this finish, this blued finish, is different than the Parkerized finish of World War II. It doesn't have the plastic grips. It does have the bump out on the mainspring housing. And there's other features about it that say it's between the wars. Basically, 1924 is between the wars, and they made very few of these. So the production numbers were very low. They also numbered the slides. World War I, they didn't, generally World War I, they didn't number the slides. And World War II, they didn't number the slides other than the very early ones. And in this transition, the slides are numbered, and it's right under here. You'd have to take that little firing pin stop out, and then you'll see the numbers here. So it has a matching number slide, and there's the gun itself. Here's the magazine, and this is just in stunning condition. Just look at that. I'm just amazed by how beautiful this is. So a rare gun in phenomenal condition. There's both sides of the gun. There's the serial number for those of you who look stuff like this up. And this is a longtime collector who showed up with some Colts and some very beautiful Colts. You do see the inspector stamp. It's a rare inspector stamp. It's WTG or TWG. I'd have to look it up, but there's the inspector stamp. And it does say U.S. Army. So a rare 1924, 1911 Transitional Colt. Beautiful gun and very rare find. And we will be offering this. It probably won't make it to the website. Hey, thanks for watching. I hope you're enjoying your summer. And while we were filming, I just got another box of Canadian guns. So, as always, stay tuned.